Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm gamesplaining Agra. Agra is an absolute beast of a game. As you can see, it is huge. As you can see, this is taking up a large portion of my large table and it is really tight. You can see the first and second player are set up next to each other. First player is indicated by that. That becomes important only at the end of the game. So let's start at the end of the game with this one. This is a little bit different than other games that I've gamesplayed just because it's so huge and so involved. Every other video that I've watched on this, and yes, I have watched other videos on this simply so I can see what is being said about this game. It is big and it's really hard to get into a video. So every other video I've seen that is shorter than an hour seems to be saying I'm not covering all the rules. So I will go along with the flow. I will probably not cover all the rules. I will, however, as the Gamesplainer is set up to do, explain everything that is necessary to get the game started. You will need the rulebook. You will need to look at it often until you've played this game a few times. So I'll start at the end with the scoring. If you understand the scoring, then things make a little bit more sense. The game finishes when either you get this guy to the end of the river, you get one of these guys into the top layer or top level of that track, or you get all 6 spaces filled in one of these 3 locations. Once that end condition happens, play continues until everyone has had the same number of turns, thus the need for the start player marker. Then everyone gets one more turn. This enables everyone to hopefully get a few more points. What are points? Points are coins in your bag. Everyone has one of these. Everyone starts with 2 coins in their bag. Every time you collect coins, they go in your bag, and that is where you hold your points at the end of the game. Having played the game recently, it is very difficult, next to impossible in fact, to remember how much is in your bag and to know who is winning. Thus the need for a bag, so you can't look around the table and go, oh, that person's winning, I better work really hard to get them. You're just trying to get your score as high as possible. Once you finish, where does the scores come from? Firstly, you'll get points for notables with end game conditions or end game scoring. That's notables are these guys along the river. Anyone that has that little symbol on it will give you money for something on the other side. So money is points. Every money you have in your bag is worth a point. So you need to look up what each of the cards does. There are different cards in every game. The next thing is the top of each influence track will get 2 points. The next person down will get 1 point. If there's an even tie for the top, then each of the people who are tying will get 1 point, or should I say money, into their bag, and anything below that will get nothing. The end of your meditation track, so if you get tells you how many you need up there to get points to the last position, that will be worth 5 money at the end of the game. You will get money for delivering up to the Emperor, that's in the top row. If you have 3 row, you get 5 points. If you look really closely, and for every other one above that 3, you will get another 3 points or 3 money into your bag. And you'll also get 1 money for each of these that have been taken off your personal board. Now, how do we get those places? On your turn, there are realistically only 4 things along the top to choose from. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 things down the side. 2, 3, 4. As the game goes on, you'll build more of these, which will make more of these buildings available to you. But for the moment, because we're just dealing with the main spots, let's talk through what each of the spots does. So the first one's really straightforward. If you, say, go to the cotton, have a look at your player board, and you notice cotton is here. There's 1, 2 spaces between your farmers and the cotton marks, which means that you will get 2 workers onto that. And that will work with any of the 4 or any of the types of buildings that we've got the main ones that are available to us are this. If you are to build where the elephant is, so for example, if blue does similar action, he builds where the elephant is. First off, you'll start by adding a 2 because there's 2 between you and the wood. There's 2 between you and everything, and we'll show you how to change that in a second. Then you'll roll for the elephant. So say you rolled 3, and he'll move 1, 2, 3, just going through the empty buildings. And those 2 spots where he stopped but didn't actually stop, so places he has passed through, will both get 1 money each. The other thing that happens is that the blue player who made the elephant move will gain 2 favors up on the top of about them later. Now that there's money over here, and the next person who goes to either of these spots will get that money into their bag, so that's a point for them, as well as then actioning the spot where the money is. So for example, it's yellow's turn next. Yellow might choose to go here, in which case they would get that 1 money into their bag, and they would also get 2 pieces of that particular good. Yellow could choose on his turn, rather than going to here, he could choose to go to here, but there's a guy there already, which means that he needs to spend 2 money out of his bag. So I'll take the 1 money from his bag plus the 1 money that's been left there by the elephant to use that guy again. Now that's also if he's lying down. I'll talk to you about lying guys down in a second, but lying or standing is the same deal. It costs 2 money to use that spot. The other 4 spots are a little bit more difficult to understand or a little bit more intricate. So let's move along them in order. So we'll go from left to right. First up, we have the architect. You have 2 choices when you go to the architect. Either you can move one of your 3 markers on this part of the board here up 1 spot. When you get to each of the yellow spots, that's when you'll get these bonuses. Until you have moved up them, so let's maybe move the blue one up, blue can now score anything on that. He will get 3 money for that. Yellow can't score on that line because he hasn't pushed anything up at all. Once he moves up 1, he can also score where the yellow marker is. You score that by providing those goods. He will get 3 money also. If one of these guys has moved ahead, he'll get 4. The second guy down, or anyone who's below him on the levels, will get whatever their marker's worth minus 1. So yellow will only be getting 2 points for his marker there at the moment. Or the other thing that can be done is to build your buildings. So what's going to happen is you actually need to have stuff up in the top 2 in order to build. He needs a level of 3. So if they were there, he could get 1 from that one and 1 from that one. That is worth 2, but because they're from 2 different spots, it's actually worth a -1, so he can build anything from this level. If he's taking both from the spot, he only actually has a building value of 2, which means he can't build anything because they're only worth 2. From 2 different spots, it's worth 3. So say he might spend those and build that one. He will then get to choose one of these 4 markers, which will give him money and probably move him up the influence track, or take one of his little things off that we talked about earlier, or gain him extra guys into that influence track. I'll talk about that again in a second. Once you build a building, you will get to choose one of these, and then you will get to move 3 of your things along. So if you have guys in that space, you'll then get to move them to there for free without having to pay extra. If you go to here, this guy is called the sailor. You have 2 choices. You can pay a good to fulfill 2 goods on the guild order board, meaning you'll need to have 3 goods here to start with. I'll just place some things around for the moment so we can see how it works. It'll cost me a good to spend that good and that good on the spot where this currently is. So I'd get 4 money for turning that in. This would then move down a line I put my marker there, take those 2 off because that's the 2 goods that are required for that spot. Put 4 monies into my bag. Then I am able to also, if I've got goods left over here, fulfill any of the cards up to the boat. As the boat is sitting here, it's looking for 2 of these 4 to be fulfilled. Once that's fulfilled, that will move down to the next spot. We'll action the thing each time it moves down. And obviously when it gets to the end of the run, that's the end of the game. In order for me to fulfill stuff, I would need to take things off the appropriate market, put it onto the space. So say, for example, I took one from the cotton, I put it onto the cotton. I would get 1 money in my bag for that. Then if I was able to also fulfill this one, so I happen to have a guy there, I could put that down. I would get 2 money for that. I would have to pay one of these resources or a resource in order to be able to place that. I would get 1 money back because it only costs 1 flag resource. So it's one of these ones. This one's worth 2. So it's actually going to get me extra money back for doing that. I would then get 2 extra money in my bag. So this one's 1, this one's worth 2. Why is this one worth 2? Because this one already has 1 on it. And because I own the majority of them, I would get this card as a bonus. And each of these cards has a different thing written on the rules. I'm not going to go into what that means at the moment. Noticing that in order to put more goods down, it would cost me the number of flags for how many goods I wish to actually maneuver. So if I've used a good from a 2 flag spot, I'd be able to put 2 more goods on the space. If I've only put 1 extra good, which is what happened just then, I'd be able to take the money for the extra flag that's been used or not used, as the case could be. If there is a tie, for example, like this one, the player who delivered the topmost good, which in this case is the green, would get the card no matter who finalizes the thing. In order for blue to actually win that, he would need to spend a good to place a second good of the same type. So he would need to have 2 goods in that spot to be able to claim that. But the only time you can do that is by going to the sailor. You cannot do that if you use the centerboard. I will talk about that at a later stage, what that is. Moving on, this guy is intriguing because what it allows us to do is change the flag value by 1. So for example, I could change that flag value. What that now means is anyone who puts their markers on here, that good is worth 2 flags. So same as this good, same as this good, which is important because of the repayments of how many flags you're taking. So if I take one from here to fulfill the boat, I can fulfill 2 goods worth of things down to the cards on the river. Once I've done that, I can then trade in any 3 things. So I've got 1 here. Say I had 1 there and 1 there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 3 things, that's 5 flags worth I've just suddenly changed in. I can put them in any location that is worth 4 flags. So theoretically, I could throw 1 all the way across to the end for 3 flags and 1 over here for 1 flag, or I could throw 1 there and 1 there. The reason I would do that is to use them for the purchasing of the board, or because of what's on the river. And the 4th spot is the gardener, is the botanist, and what you'll get to do with the botanist is 2 of the 3 actions. So she's got 3 actions showing. First one you can do is pay to move your marker along the bottom of your board. You'll notice there is little icon. So if I had 1 there, I could spend a good to move my marker along 1. The second thing I'm able to do is to remove one of these little spots that stops the gardening, and suddenly what I've got is that particular good is worth 3 goods now. Or alternately, I can move my guys to spaces. So I could move this guy 1 space and that guy 1 space, and suddenly that's worth 5. So if I were to take this action, I would put 5 of these guys onto that. Okay, that's the basics of the game. I'm going to go on to this, which is the first turn of, well, the beginning of any turn. And I will go on to the extra turn stuff that you can do in the second video. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to see what games I've been playing. And until next time, enjoy gaming.